All right, listen, bitch. This is your March wake up call. You've been playing small through the winter, but now it's time to shake off the frost and step into the raw power and potential that's been simmering inside of you all along. I'm your host, Brandon Lynette, Christian mindset coach, best-selling author, and your fierce new cheerleader. And this is the Listen Bitch podcast. We're in season 7. This is all about unapologetically owning your worth, embracing the audacious vision that God has for your life, and breaking through every barrier that has kept you stuck. If you are ready to ditch the hesitation, stop doubting your dreams, and start living the life you were born to claim, then you've landed in the right spot. Every episode, we dive into the faith and mindset and the no nonsense truths that are going to help you ignite your next level. No fluff, no bullshit, no excuses. Just bold talk about stepping into your destiny as a human of purpose and power. March is here. It is time to stop tiptoeing around, babe. Get ready to rise up, show up, and make this your year of unshakable growth. Let's roll. This is Listen Bitch, where faith meets fierce and you finally start unleashing your true potential. I'm doing that singing thing again. So, this is another listener request, and I'm glad because it takes less brain power. I don't have to think about what we're going to have a podcast about today because it's already here. So I'm really glad she reached out, and this was the message of just what she wanted to talk about is that struggle between knowing what you need to do and actually doing it, and kind of how to process through that. And part of her struggle is that she is experiencing that a depressive state. And honestly, it is a struggle. Okay. And it's completely frustrating. And it feels like there's this disconnect between your awareness and your ability to take action. So then that cycle, that hamster wheel is one that's going to amplify feelings of guilt, helplessness, and ideally just being stuck, And I have felt this before where I just was absolutely depressed. I wasn't doing what I needed or should have been doing. And nothing made sense. Like, I love my family, I love my kids, I love my husband, I love my job. I love all these things. So why would I possibly be depressed? Um, and it took a while to process through that. And we're going to talk about some things that will hopefully help. But let's look at the dynamics that we're actually going through, because I think it helps us to understand if we can take a step back and look at this um, as someone from the outside, right? That internal struggle that you're going through is really cognitive dissonance. And this is when your thoughts and your actions don't align. Like, we have an issue with our heart and mind coherence, and we're going to be off our rocker in those moments. You know what needs to be done, but the task feels so overwhelming and so distant that you can't bring yourself to take that first step. The gap between intention and action is actually causing you emotional tension. So then we're going to start having these depressive symptoms. And depression is going to cloud your ability to take action. That's just what it's there for, to keep you paralyzed. This is one of the devil's unloved gifts that he has, bestowed upon us. Even taking action on things that you care about or know would improve your situation, you just can't see yourself through it. And it's easy to become paralyzed by a lack of motivation, by a lack of energy, by a lack of hope. Even little tasks feel like insurmountable mountains. And I get that. There's a fear of failure, even if the task is simple, because what happens when we've decided to loop in on this depression wheel, it amplifies that fear of failing. So then that's going to drive us to procrastination, to avoidance, as you try to shield yourself from feeling inadequate, as you're feeling disappointed in yourself. And then the really cool sidekick of depression is self-criticism. So that negative self-talk that comes along with all this bullshit is going to make you question your worth. It's going to make you question your abilities. And the more you ruminate on these thoughts, the less energy you feel to take action, and the cycle deepens. It is exhausting. And I had a conversation with someone that reached out today. I'm blocked, so I doubt she's going to listen to this. But ideally super pissed her off, and it wasn't my intention. It's just that when it does come to energy and the things I'm willing to take on, it has to be something that we both agree there is potential on. So when you're coming to me and you're asking for help with your shift in your mindset, but you continue to argue for your limitations and you refuse to see what's possible, I already see all of your energy is being used to cling to all the reasons why you're never going to make things work. And once you get to that point, like there is nothing anyone can do. This is something that has to come from inside of you. That energy is exhausting, and it absolutely intensifies all of these components in this cycle. And this is the thing, we're ruminating on these thoughts, we're deciding, to choose the wrong side of things. It lessens your energy even more, and the further away you get from that, there is just a point where no one can force you to see what's possible. So the biggest thing today, if all of this is speaking to you, if you're like, oh my God, she's talking to me, I have all these ideas and things that I know I should do or things that I want to do, I just am not taking the action on doing that. I just want you to know, honestly, that it is possible to get on the other side of this. And I know because I've done it. I've done it. But the way this is affecting you, the combination of knowing what needs to be done, but like feeling that inability to take action, it's going to leave you in a state of constant frustration. And the frustration is going to compound your depressive feeling because it's actually reinforcing the belief that you're incapable or that nothing will change. So we're creating new pathways, but just the wrong kind of pathways. And what happens is that internal struggle becomes your negative feedback loop. So the longer you stay in that place of inaction, the more your sense of helplessness grows and this monster gets big and scary, and the more your mood and your self-esteem go out the window. It is okay to give someone space to believe in you while you're taking time to believe in yourself. I would not be here had it not been for a lot of people that believed in me before I could believe in myself, including the man that I married. But I have some incredible mentors that have held space for me to get my shit together. They can never do it for me. Right. And that's the frustrating part when you love someone and you care about them, like, you can't do it for them. And a lot of people take that personal. I am happy to say I did not take it personal. I knew that this journey had to be my own. And no matter what anybody would see outside of myself, it took me finding what's possible inside of my own self. So tap into that. Allow other people to hold space for you until you can believe in yourself. Because right now, if you're letting the mood and the self-esteem just cave in, you're not leaving a lot of people hope. And what happens, like, we have to shift your mental capacity. Moving out of this state, by the way, I don't know why I should just say their listener request is not the same person that that I got blocked with today. Okay. They're very different people. It was just a coincidence. I feel like a lot of people are kind of on the same loops. We get on the same loops. And so that's why you'll be like, oh my gosh, everybody was talking about shifting into action today everywhere I looked. It's just kind of how that works. So it's just today was the day for it. Okay. Moving out of the state takes intentional effort. Okay. But this is the thing. And I'm telling you, you can change this. And there are important action steps that can help you do this. Okay. And I'm just going to give you like the basic action steps. And then I'm going to give you the number one thing that has helped me. And I know some of you probably already know what I'm going to say, but it's okay. Shift your focus to small, achievable goals. And I'm saying this because depression and inaction thrive in a state of overwhelm. Like, that's where they grow. So if you try to come up with this big shit to-do list of all the things you're going to do, like, listen, if you're seriously like couch bound depressed right now, I want you just to go stand in some water. I'm not saying take an everything shower because that's too overwhelming. I'm saying like literally just go stand in the water and put a robe on and then make your move from there. Like little things. That's the example I want to give you. Like little tiny things. Okay. Because we don't want to feed that depression in action. when we tell ourselves we have to do all these things. And this still happens to me when I want to like batch record shows or something's happening with the family. I freak out so much sometimes that I freeze. Like this week has been that where I've taken a couple hours. I've been in the freeze state of like, listen, bitch, do it now. And I couldn't get myself to move because I was in such a state of overwhelm. And it's hard to stay focused in that space, but I took the action. We have episodes up. I'm excited that I've been doing the Bible study on YouTube consistently. So it's just the one little thing, and that's how I get myself to move out of that state of inaction. When you focus on the big picture or everything, it's easy to shut down. So break shit down into small chunks, little things like, oh, I'm going to go ahead and outline the podcast topics, right? I'm just going to do that. I'm going to do the podcast. I'm not going to think about Bible study or putting up TikToks or doing the YouTube video or making sure I have the journal prompts, like one little thing at a time. And that action makes me feel really good, right? We record the podcast. I feel so good. I recorded the podcast. I'm going to bust out the emails. I'm going to do the things. And like the action just leads from one task to the next. That's it. But choose one task, something very, very small. Okay. Maybe you just need to write one sentence of an email, not a whole fucking email. Maybe it's as simple as the couch rot, maybe the shower, maybe the water is even too much. Just get out of bed and go get a glass of water. I want you to make sure it is easy enough to complete that you cannot talk yourself out of it. And this is how you build momentum, one tiny step at a time. And the mindset shift here, which the mindset is a superpower, the mindset shift here is that you're going to celebrate that. You're going to celebrate that your ass got the fuck up and got some water. You're going to celebrate that you stood under the water. You're going to celebrate that you wrote a sentence of the email. Okay. Every small task completed is evidence of your capability. And so it's going to make that lie that we've been ruminating on. It will shift your brain from thinking I can't to I did. I did that. I did that. I did that. You have to start with that non-demanding self-care. I felt a sneeze coming on and I had to go for it. I'm sorry. So we're going to start with that self-care. And I'm not talking about like, just pampering yourself. I'm talking about creating an environment that is going to nurture your mental health and taking care of your body and mind. This is a foundational step in regaining that energy and the mental clarity. How does this make sense? Because it's physical. So I want you to try to engage in one act of physical self-care every day, even if it's like a short walk or stretching for 5 minutes. That's it. One short little thing, stretch for 5 minutes. You don't need to go anywhere for that. You don't need any gym clothes for that. Just do your stretching, and mentally you've got to do one activity that soothes you or like will refresh you, like journaling or listening to a podcast, maybe reading a book that you enjoy. And the goal is not productivity. I just want you to have a simple comfort. Okay. Not a toxic comfort, a simple comfort. I want to make sure that you are getting that restful sleep. So get into a bedtime routine that is relaxing. That means like get rid of the screens, no stimulants before bed. And we want to continue nurturing the mindset shifts. That's reconnecting with yourself on a very basic level to remind yourself that you deserve care. Your mind and body need this before you can expect them to handle bigger tasks. Okay. Build a routine that is flexible. A routine is going to help counter that chaos in your mind. It's going to help provide structure. This is essential for anybody that is struggling with that feeling of depression. But too rigid of a routine is going to lead to stress and failure. And if you can't follow through, okay. So it is very important that you keep it flexible. That means we're creating a very loose schedule for the day. You want to focus on key anchors like non-negotiable things like meals or work or sleep. And make sure that one of the non-negotiables is me time. Like what is important for your time in the day. And to keep it fluid, if you don't get to something, it's not a failure. You can adapt the schedule tomorrow. And that we're focusing on the mindset shifts here because a routine is your ally. It's not your enemy. It is not about being perfect. It is about consistency in the small steps. And I know sometimes this is part of my struggle because I'm new on YouTube. I'm still a newbie in the podcast circuit. Okay. Like I'm I'm a newbie. So being able to commit to doing things that there is nothing at the end of this for me, right? So it is sometimes hard to tell myself like these things are important. Like sometimes I can't even show up enough for myself to make it seem to even help myself understand that there is one person that needs me to show up today. Like if you can't show up for yourself, you can't show up for other people. So that mindset shift was like you've got to show up for yourself because there is one person. And it's easy to get stuck in, thinking nobody cares, nobody will see this. That's a lie of the devil. Okay, because people do care about what you're showing up to do. People do care about your story. And consistency, where's Brandon Lynette going to be in 1 year if she's posting on YouTube every week? 1 year, what does that look like? So I could get caught up in all of that and think I have to do 300 episodes and I have to do all these things and doing all this crazy stuff. Or I could come back to really shifting that mindset to really get into my own routine, to get into my own self-care, to know that taking care of me allows me to take care of one other person. And that's it. The magic of this podcast is that I do this for you, for the one person that I know is going to show up, for the one person that is supporting me, for the one person that is taking advantage of all of this incredible information and making a major shift in their life. I want you to step into your potential, and I'm helping you pave the way for that. We're about consistent small steps. Take care of yourself today because there is someone in your life that needs you tomorrow. And we've got to cultivate that compassionate self-talk because at the end of the day, that negative self-talk, that's just gasoline on the fire of inaction and depression. Being kind to yourself, that's how we break the cycle. You have to challenge those thoughts that you're having. When you think like, I'm lazy, reframe it. I'm doing the best I can right now. Oh, I don't know what's going on. I drank a lot of water really fast. I can try again tomorrow. So use affirmations that feel authentic to you, like I'm allowed to have setbacks or I am worthy of kindness and patience. Treat yourself like you would treat that close friend. That means we're offering compassion, not criticism. Okay. The mindset shift magic here is that we're replacing the self-criticism with self-compassion so you can gain emotional strength. That's what's important here. You want that emotional strength because that emotional strength is the foundation for you to increase your ability to actually take action. Make external accountability a tool. Sometimes depression makes it hard to push yourself. External accountability is going to give you the nudge that you need. So you've got to find a friend, a family member, a life coach who can check in with you regularly and tell them your goal and have them ask you how it's going. Like this got to be someone you're going to know they'll check in on you. And if you're not ready for someone else, maybe there's tons of digital accountability tools like the task list or, app. Even what is the old school calendar shit where you mark the X's on the calendar? That's huge. That was a mental shift for a lot of people. And honestly, if your depression is bad, I have to put the disclaimer that you really do need to seek professional support. Okay. This is an entertainment podcast. Brandon Lynette is not a doctor and she doesn't know shit. Okay. We all know that's not a secret. So just honestly, if it is really terrible for you, you have to get professional help. Okay. But I just want you to understand, especially struggling through this, because I can very much relate. I just want to make it very clear that you are not alone in this process. Accountability does not mean judgment. It means support. Okay. And I know taking action while you're feeling stuck is so hard, but you don't have to do everything all at once. We're going to focus on the progress, not perfection. You're doing the hard work by just acknowledging the struggle and seeking the change. Every step, no matter how small, is a victory. And these small wins compound over time, just like all of your actions, all of your small habits, everything you do adds up over time. And if you slip up and you have a day where it didn't go as planned, we're not going to beat ourselves up because depression thrives on that shit. Okay. Instead, we're going to get curious about what made it hard to take action. Ask yourself the questions and then use that knowledge to adjust your approach. There are patterns. We leave clues in our own lives here. It is about giving yourself grace to move forward step by step, no matter how small the steps are. Okay. It's more than, a lot of people have a chance to take. And I just want to be honest. And this is the part where I know a lot of you were like, I know she's going to bring him up. I know she's going to say something. Absolutely. I'm just going to say, for me, God played a profound role in this process, especially with the feelings of being stuck and depression and not feeling good enough. Faith has been my source of strength. It has been my guidance, and it is my comfort when, shit is hard, when I'm like, I how do I show up today? Give me the strength to show up for myself so that I could do a podcast, or I could do Bible study, or I could do journal prompts, or to be a good mom. Like, give me the strength to do these things. This is what happens. God provides strength when you're weak. I could do all things through Christ who strengthens me. God's power can empower you in ways that go beyond your abilities. Okay. And you may not feel strong, but through faith, you tap into this divine strength that will literally lift you up. Okay. In moments of doubt, just lean on him. And that means, if this is new to you, if you're like, I just don't know, Brandon, look, I get that there probably is a God and it's a little uncomfortable for me. That's okay. Be uncomfortable. And it might be for a while, but I promise in those times of doubt, just lean into him. Pause for that prayer. Just ask him for the small little help in the everyday moments. Asking just opens a door for him, and he can show you his own magic. Like, that is, your relationship with him will be your own. And that is not, I can't call it, but I can say he is strength. And he's given me peace. Like, in the middle of my anxiety freakouts, I read it in the Bible. He literally says, do not be anxious about anything. He says it a lot. Don't be fearful. Don't be anxious. In every situation, by prayer and petition, repetition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Anxiety is paralyzing for me, and it makes like all my small shit seem overwhelming. So when I could turn that over to God, I find that sense of peace, and it transcends the chaos in my mind. Yes, even in my neurospicy brain, it just goes above all of that. And I'm like, wow, okay. Even if the circumstances don't change right away, that peace, God's peace, literally soothes the anxiety that hinders my action. Where I'm like, you're right. It's one person. He brought me through it so I could help you to it. Okay. That's what I'm here for. And I literally, it has helped me so much to start my day off with those requests, 3 things with God in that moment, being able to have gratitude, being able to roll over and snuggle my little bug, like all of those things. Like, I am thankful for that. And then I ask, for the things I need help with. And I give him the things that I can't handle. Like, this is too much today. I'm going to put this on your plate. Like, handle this for me. And every single time he does. That's it. So this is a way that calms my heart and my mind, and it guides me through those little steps. It is a simple moment of surrender, acknowledging that you do not have to do this on your own. And I mean, God has shown me my worth, and he wrote that too. He created us in his image. In his image. Depression is distorting how you see yourself. So you think you're a worthless, incapable piece of shit, and that is not true. God reminds you that you were created in his image and you are inherently valuable. He sees you worthy of love and care and support. And we're talking about God, okay? That's huge. That he thinks you're special, that he thinks I'm special. Of all the people in the world, you matter. In those moments of self-doubt, I want you to remind yourself that you are made in his image and you have infinite worth. Reflect on the fact that he doesn't view you through the lens of your shortcomings or failures. He's not holding you to the accountability of what the world thinks is good and true and just, but it's through his unconditional love and grace. He helps you make better decisions. When you're unsure of how to move forward or you're feeling overwhelmed by options, his promise is to provide. the guidance and to provide the wisdom. If you're looking at him for direction, you're going to get clarity even when you can't see the full picture. I can't always see the full picture. I'm in the season of, okay, God, I'm going to do this one step at a time. I'm being called for this. I'm being called for this. I feel that. I don't know what comes next. And it's exciting. Every day, I'm like, this is going to be awesome. I don't know what comes next. I don't know what conversation I'm going to get to have, but I just trust that there's something amazing because everything always works out for me. Not only because he promised, but I've challenged that truth. I've seen the proof. He will help you discern the right next step. Whether it is that peaceful knowing from quiet inspiration or an opportunity or maybe a meeting with other people, that's it. He's there. He's not distant when you're struggling. That's when he is in the most readily action to be taken. He is there, especially in the brokenness. Find comfort in that. Let yourself know that he can hear your pain. Even in the darkest moments, you don't have to carry this alone. Allow yourself to sit in his presence, whether that's prayer or maybe you need to go to church or just being still. In moments of pain and confusion, you have to give yourself that permission to grieve, knowing that God is there to give you comfort and compassion. He's here to help us persevere. We can't become weary in doing good because at the proper time, we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Do what you're called to do, even if you can't see outside of those steps that you're taking to do it. And that's where I get lost sometimes, is I can't see. And I got to have a lot of faith, and that faith is scary, right? Because we can't see, we can't control. All I can do is just keep showing up. And I know depression makes it hard to keep going, especially when it feels like progress is slow or non-existent. But that's why God is there, to encourage us not to give up in those moments of frustration and discouragement. He gives you the strength to persevere, knowing that even small, faithful steps matter in his kingdom. When you feel like giving up, hold on to that promise that he is faithful. Remind yourself that the process matters, even when the results aren't immediate. Your perseverance is shaping something important. Of all the podcasts I've done this week, this probably is the topic that hit home the most. So I am thankful. When you guys have podcast ideas, please continue to reach out to me. Okay. Because I love this. It was God used you to get this out of me. Cause like I'm having an aha moment right now. I'm like, gosh, it is just keep going. I needed this message from him. And it's not the message, of like, I knew this. It's being able to say it out loud, knowing it could help someone else to say, okay, like I hear this back, right? This is my therapy, kids. Listen, bitches, Brandon Lynette's therapy. So thank you for that. Thanks for sitting in on my therapist session. God offers hope of transformation. Okay. This is literally the truth. If anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come, the old has gone, the new is here. In the depths of depression, it is hard to imagine that things can be any different, but God promises he can transform us. And through him, there is always potential for renewal and growth every single time, even in the toughest times. God is working to shape you into something new. He's using all these things that you think are broken parts of you to make the best parts of who's to come. Embrace that hope that God can renew your mind and spirit every step forward, no matter how small, is a part of that transformation. I just need you to understand change is possible. I'm going to be honest. I don't think it's possible without him. Okay. But that's just my truth. Like, I love and respect. Maybe you have to learn the hard way, like I did, but it circled back and it's him every single time. Okay. Change is possible no matter how long it takes. Start your day with praying. Ask for God's strength and peace and guidance. Surrender your bullshit baggage to him and ask for help in taking action, no matter how small. I don't care if you have to pray to go brush your teeth. That's okay. And I want you to find these verses in here that will remind you. And you could go to Google and you could say, find me scriptures of God's promise of strength. Find me scriptures of God's promise of peace. Write them down. Meditate on them through the day, especially in moments of doubt. I literally keep note cards in my Bible. My Bible is my microphone stand right now, in case you guys didn't know. And I can't, unless I pull it all the way out, I can't pull them. But I keep little note cards because when I find a promise in there that I know that is speaking to me, I pocket that bitch all day and I just meditate on it. I want you to journal. Keep a journal where you can write down your thoughts and your prayers. Okay. Write down the truth of how you've seen his hand at work, because this helps you reflect on your journey and it reminds you of God's faithfulness. That's it. You recognize your patterns and you see him in there. Lean on the people that you know are going to support you. Find, you know, the tangible support and encouragement that you need in positive places. And then give yourself grace, because God's grace will cover us in everything we struggle through. If you don't feel like you're making progress, it's okay. Because, like I said, he does not expect perfection. Like, my job right now is just to keep seeking him and serving him and saying yes, saying yes, even when I know what's coming, right? Like, God, are you sure about this? Because I feel like, this is going to happen. And it does. And he's like, it did. And it wasn't the worst thing. Keep going, keep going. That's not being called to do. And I feel like at the end of the day, you're being called to seek him as well, or you wouldn't be listening to this. And I mean, listen, incorporating God into this process, you're going to get a deeper sense of peace. I don't think I really knew peace without knowing and acknowledging that he's a part of that. But this is where your resilience becomes magic. As you trust in your presence, you find that the journey from knowing to doing, it becomes a shared experience. It is like, all right, God, we're doing this, right? We're going to do this, and we get the fuck up and we do it. And I'm like, thank God. Okay. Because I wasn't doing that by myself. Okay. I want you to stop being stuck, and I want you to start focusing on the truth. And that truth is, you are unstoppable. You're unstoppable. That's it for this week's Listen Bitch podcast. It is Thursday, bitches. Okay. I hope you guys have an incredible weekend. You've got the spark, the faith, and the grit. And now it's time to take that March momentum and charge. No more hiding. No more playing it safe. It's time to step into the fierce, purpose-driven human that God has been shaping you to be. This is your month to break ground and build something unstoppable. Okay. Make sure you go to brandonlynette.com, get in for my emails. I send quick links to the podcast and YouTube videos there. And make sure you have binged all these episodes, because it is a great map. It is a great way to map out the destiny that you're claiming. Okay. Do it now. Keep the fire blazing. Subscribe. Make sure you share this video with someone who's ready to rise, and meet me back here next week for more truth and transformation. Until then, rise up, show up, and own it, babe. This is Brandon Lynette signing off. Let's make this March your launch pad to legendary.